Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. These are the top two boxing clout chasers out today. I've been asked a lot of questions about a lot of different guys and, who's clout chasing in boxing. We use the word ducking too loosely, but we never really look at the clout chasers, the guys that are they really looking for the big fights, or they're just talking about the big fights? Are they really trying to fight the best? Or they're just talking about fighting the best? Are they just calling out names, for bravado, for clout, trying to make themselves look or appear bigger than what they are? And we all know in boxing, clout chasing is common. We all know that, sometimes guys do clout chase. It's a part of the business. But, I've been having a lot of requests to expose the top two clout chasers in boxing. And, the funny thing is, a lot of people were saying Mikey Garcia was clout chasing Errol Spence Jr. And I was adamant that Mikey Garcia truly believes he could beat Errol Spence Jr. He couldn't. Errol Spence Jr. thoroughly dominated Mikey Garcia. Much respect to Spence for that. But at the end of the day, Mikey Garcia never clout chased. He took on the challenge head on. It is what it is. But when we look at the top two clout chasers in boxing, the guys who ultimately are going to make the fights, who are not just calling out the names, who really want the fights. The first one you have to start with is Deontay Wilder. He's called out Anthony Joshua. He said the best fight the best. He chased kings. He doesn't chase peasants. And the funny thing is, the first name that he clout chased was a Dillian White. And he stated about Dillian White is that, and it wasn't that he called out Dillian White. It's basically he tried to put Dillian White on a level below him. He basically said that he's above Dillian White. He's a better fighter than Dillian White. And every time he mentions Dillian White in an interview, it's always to downgrade or degrade Dillian White, like he's not worthy of facing him. So that's a different way you can take on clout chasing. At the end of the day, I believe Dillian White is a better overall fighter than Deontay Wilder, has proven a lot more and has a better resume, in my opinion, than Deontay Wilder. I truly believe that Deontay Wilder's only quality win came from a Luis Ortiz, and that Luis Ortiz was overweight, high blood pressure, and almost stopped Wilder. So let's just be honest and unbiased. Deontay Wilder has been calling out Anthony Joshua's name for a long time, and now he's completely avoiding, openly ducking Anthony Joshua, turning down $100 million offer to walk away from an Anthony Joshua fight, making all kinds of excuses. Deontay Wilder was continuously exposed against an old Luis Ortiz. He was exposed again, in my opinion, lost to Tyson Fury, robbed Tyson Fury. If you look at Deontay Wilder, one of the worst fundamentally type boxers in the history of the sport, he's clearly clout chasing Anthony Joshua. It's funny that Anthony Joshua is, selling record numbers in Madison Square Garden in New York, but at the same time, Deontay Wilder is giving away tickets in his own country in Los Angeles. I find that very, very funny because he's done nothing but clout chase Anthony Joshua's fame, popularity, name, and his brand to become a more relevant heavyweight. Because before Anthony Joshua evolved as his big fighter, no one cared about Deontay Wilder. But let's just break down the the first biggest clout chaser, and that has to be a Jermall Charlo. The guy who screams lions only, the guy who says that he wants to fight the best, the guy who screamed Gennady Golovkin's name, the guy who said Gennady Golovkin is afraid of him, the guy who said, Gennady Golovkin will never fight him. And at the end of the day, it's Jermall Charlo who needs to make his name valuable for a Triple G to fight him. It's Jermall Charlo, the guy who needs to make himself relevant in the division. Jermall Charlo's not even signed with DAZN, so how can you even expect to fight a Triple G? He wasn't signed with HBO, so how could you expect to fight a Triple G? You look at a guy like Danny Jacobs, who's serious about his career, serious about fighting the best, move to HBO to make those big fights happen. So if Danny Jacobs can do it, a more experienced, an elite level, a proven fighter can do it, why won't you? Then you look at, Jermall Charlo calling out Canelo Alvarez's name. Now, we know everyone's going to clout chase Canelo because Canelo's the biggest name, the face of boxing in North America. Canelo Alvarez is the star, is the A-side to literally almost any and everyone in boxing, period. So if we're looking at that and we're looking at Canelo and Jermall Charlo, clearly he's calling him out. Clearly he's clout chasing when he's struggling with the Matt Korobov, and you're calling out a Canelo Alvarez when truly you would only want that fight as a payday. But once again, this is the IBFP calling out the two biggest clout chasers in boxing. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.